Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I ask that you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about two things in particular. I'm going to be talking about expunging my US record, and we're going to also be talking about successful marriage tip. The successful marriage tip was suggested by one of my subscribers, Donna Gray Passmore. Big up yourself, Donna Gray Passmore.
Hi, Donna.
She suggested that we talk about successful marriage tip, considering that we recently celebrated 11 years of wedlock. And before we get into today's vlog and talking, Wife for Life and I asked to say thanks to the 300 and plus people who participated on the community page and acknowledge our anniversary.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. It was nice to see these messages.
Right.
With a smile on my face.
They were very encouraging, and it just made me fall in love more and more with my subscribers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the support was overwhelming, and we appreciate it. For all of you guys who are not aware of what we're talking about, check out the community page on my channel to see the picture that I posted over the weekend. Okay, now down to business. As you can see, I'm joined with my wife for life.
Hi, everyone.
I believe this is your third time on the channel.
Yes.
And
I hope you don't mind me bombarding the channel now, but
I wouldn't call it a bombardment, but I'm sure when they do see you, every time they see you, it's usually for a cause. Yeah? So the reason why Wife for Life is here, obviously she's here because we're married. So I would rather for you guys to hear it from my side and from her side as to what works for marriage, or what has caused us to have a successful marriage.
Exactly.
Right? And the next reason why she's here is this expunging of the US record. For most of you guys who know or who have watched my previous video about deported and banned from the United States of America, the attitude that I displayed on that video is my genuine attitude, as in I could care less as to what the United States think of me. I defy any country or any person to define me or define who I truly am. So despite what somebody may have on record and say that is E.N.T. Sebas, that doesn't really reflect the truth of me. So I've never actually really cared about it. But at the same time, in respect to that same video, hundreds of my viewers and hundreds of my subscribers came out, and I appreciate the extended sympathies, extended encouragement, and a few of my subscribers also were suggesting that, oh, Ian, you should fight that, you should tackle that, you know, you should get your name cleared. And I read them. I read all the commentaries. I read the hundreds of positive ones from the people who love me and love my channel, and I also read the few from the few haters that's on my channel. You know, there were hundreds. In this world, you're gonna always have positive and negative people. There were hundreds of people on the channel in sympathy with the misfortune of injustice that I actually had to experience, and there were some people who actually relish in the exposure of me showing that my reputation does have some blemish, you know.
There's always somebody on YouTube or watching something or a film that wishes that, you know, oh, I'm going to find that flaw sooner or later, and is there waiting.
Yes, you know,
so.
As soon as I exposed that, hey, people, there's a blemish in my life, there were a small few on my channel that was like, yay, you're not perfect, yeah, you're flawed. But all jokes to the side, Wife for Life jumped on the bandwagon of saying you should get that off your name. And in respect of my wife, it's the reason why I decided that, okay, I'm gonna honor my wife's, and also the few subscribers suggest that, Ian, you know, you need to get that sorted out, you know.
Exactly.
Seem like you've been railroaded. Seem like the United States of America and its court system done you bad. So, yes.
The reason why I did suggest it is a few things. One, it's in your legal field, you know,
Right.
and you're that kind of spokesperson as well.
Right.
And you know, you are a motivational speaker. So I thought, you know, this is your field, this is your area, this is what you're good at. So use your skills and your intelligence and go at it. Also for reputation as well.
I understand. I mean, and she's right. I mean, law is my area. And over the years we've been together and all the people I've assisted legally, I would have to say I have a 90% success rate.
Exactly,
you know?
including ourselves.
Including ourselves as clients. So it is what I'm good at, and it's very simple to do. And I'm going to actually explain to my viewers and subscribers who might be in that position and who are thinking about, you know what, I was done wrong and I want to clear my name. Okay, so how to get one's record expunged. Actually, if you have any legal knowledge, it is really a very easy procedure.
Yeah.
You know, if you have legal knowledge. Without legal knowledge, you may need the assistance of an attorney or someone who is in the field of law. However, it's not a trial and it's not like a brand new litigation. You know, it's a case that's old and done, and you're just asking the court to revisit it because there are inconsistency of the law that's in it. So first things first, in order to start your expungement procedure, you have to petition the court like in any other cases. These days it's very easy because everything is now online and you can just download this and download that, right? So what I did is I went online and I downloaded a petition for expungement. So that's the first and foremost thing you need to do. The petition for expungement is a very simple form. It's a one-page form. It's an A4 size one-page form that asks for your name, your date of birth, your social security number, presiding judge, the arresting agency, the affiant, the name of your charges, and how many counts there were. And last but not least, it asks for your reason for an expungement. And that's pretty much it. It sounds simple, but at the same time, I want to point out to people who I believe, this is just my own belief, people that are likely and unlikely to get an expungement granted. First and foremost, with an expungement, I believe that it's very unlikely to get an expungement granted if the plea was guilty. Once a person pleads guilty, they kind of give up their rights to any appeal, to any reconsideration. The second thing that I would say would make an expungement unlikely is if guilt was found beyond a reasonable doubt. So if in the particular case, your reason for being found guilty was a clear-cut, overburdened, substantial reason, then don't waste your time trying to get an expungement because it's a very unlikely chance that you will get an expungement granted. What are the likeliness of getting an expungement granted? It's the opposite of that. So, number one, to get an expungement granted, you would have to have pled not guilty. And number two, there would have to be a clear cut of discrepancies and inconsistency of legal practice, whether that was by the district attorney or by the judge. Interestingly, most cases are easy to point out inconsistency of legal practice when the case is finished than when it is actually an active case. Because once the case is finished and you're found guilty and you're convicted to whatever amount of time or probation or whatever, now the dust will settle on the case and you have the ability to point out to a new judge or a new district attorney that A conflicted with B, B conflicted with C, and D conflicted with E, so the sentencing was wrong, or the judge found you guilty without sufficient evidence or without sufficient proof. So that's pretty much how you go about filing a petition for expungement. How long this will take varies. It could take anywhere from a month to 6 months to a year. So in respect of my subscribers who encourage me to get it off my record, and in respect of my lovely wife, that is what I happen to have done recently. So I put this on the channel because I know most of my subscribers are saying, banned and deported, he could have kept that to himself. You know, or expunging his record, he could have kept that to himself. This is not really about me. Like I've always said on my channel, I'm 48 years old. I'm a man that have lived a fair enough amount of years. I've had some great achievements, and my US history when I was 18, 19 years old, and the reputation that the United States apparently have of me has not hindered my life or affected me in one way or another. For that reason,
it's actually probably made your life so much better.
Exactly.
You know, because if you do still being in America, we discussed this the other day, if you were still in America, who knows what position you'll be in now.
We'll be in today. Yeah. And one thing for sure, if I was still in America, I wouldn't have met the beautiful wife of life. You know, I didn't mind having that experience. I kind of wore it over the years like my war marks. You know, it was my scar for being black in America. Right. It was my experience in America. So I didn't mind wearing it. But come to think of it now, even if my expungement is granted and all that is clear for my name, you still can take away what had happened to begin with. You know, and then it is so much substance for the channel.
Exactly.
You know, and it's so much substance for my new book that's coming out next year. So either way, it's a win-win situation. I'm not here to discuss my case, but another reason why I decided to proceed with the expungement is because there were so much inconsistency of legal practice in that case. It was just ridiculous. When I look back at the case as an adult, I kind of said, that kid must have had an idiot for an attorney. That's the first thing I said, because how could any real good attorney let that kid get convicted on those charges?
But when you're 18, 19 years old, you kind of like put your trust in the system and you think that
truth
lawyers,
is truth.
Oh, he must be right, or the judge must be right, or the police officer must be right.
In my particular case, I think at 19 years old, I actually trusted the American system. You know, I believe that courts are justice places and judges are honest and district attorney are honest. So all you have to do is walk into this place and tell the truth. You know, so I was kind of relying on the truth. And when the truth didn't work in my favor, I kind of took a chip on my shoulder from it, and that just kind of like put me off of America. You know, I was truly offended. Okay, people, let me know what you think about my application of expungement.
Do you think it's the right thing to do, or, you know, what other questions do you have?
You know, should I have made sleeping dogs lie, or do you really believe that I should just rid it from my record? Not that I have any real interest in the US, but like Wife for Life was saying, it is a bit of shame that this lie stands. So anyway, we're going to move on to our second phase of this vlog. Just like on YouTube, figure your brain some new food, because we channel that if you watch. If you subscribe, we're gonna like that. Okay, so now we're gonna discuss successful marriage tip. We both agree that we have a successful marriage.
We do.
We have a successful relationship. For all you guys who don't know the number, we've just celebrated 11 years of marriage,
wedded bliss.
Wedded bliss. But we've actually been together
20 years.
19 and a half. 20 years. Almost 20 years. And over the 2 decades, we must admit that we've had more happiness than sadness. We believe that we complete each other, and we are going to tell you the secrets, if you want to call it secret, or the glue that has kept that happiness going. So we've done a list. She's done hers. and I've done mine.
First one, I would say, it's not in any order, but I would say understanding each other, understanding our ways and what we mean and what we do.
Right. Because sometimes words can be misinterpreted,
Exactly.
actions can also be misinterpreted.
Yeah, so that's understanding and explaining yourself to each other. I mean, we talk on a daily basis, and whatever problems we have, we talk about it. We sit down and we talk about it and we come to a solution.
Right.
And, you know, if I'm feeling something that you've done and I'm not 100% sure why you done it, or, you know...
The openness of speaking about it. Nothing is swept and kept under the carpet. Right.
Yeah.
I believe that one of the main ingredients that has kept us happy and together is compatibility.
Exactly.
You know, I believe that compatibility plays a great part in relationship. And when I say compatibility, I mean you don't have to be exactly like each other. I think that will conflict.
Definitely.
But you have to have pretty much the same mindset. You have to be the same goal oriented.
Yeah.
You have to have more than less in common with each other. And being from the same culture helps.
Definitely.
You know, being from...
like you say on your channel, each one teach one.
Exactly.
And that's definitely been affecting this in our relationship, because, you know what, okay, I was born in England, I'm British born, and he's born in Jamaica.
Right.
And his parents are Jamaican, my parents are Jamaican, so...
She educates me on Jamaicans in England.
Yes.
Yeah. And I educate her about Jamaicans in Jamaica.
Exactly.
You know, so that helps.
Another thing is that the time that we took to get to know each other, we kind of like what you call courting.
Right.
We courted a long time.
They have a saying that says only fools rush in.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And we both have previous relationships where we rushed in.
Definitely.
You know, and that saying is true. Only fools rush in. So...
Yeah, we took our time, we dated,
right.
You know. I knew that I liked him and he obviously knew that he liked me.
Right.
But it wasn't a case of, oh, let's move in together. Because we both had separate homes. So, you know, I enjoyed driving to his home and he enjoyed driving to me. And, you know,
and that went on for a while.
It went on for a while.
Yeah.
And he even expressed to me that, you know what, he doesn't want to be one of those guys that, you know, rushing too quick and make the decision too quick and try and get my hopes up, and then if anything happens,
then I don't like you later, and then you don't like me later. It doesn't work.
We had a long courtship.
Right. Yes, we did. And another tip from my side would be, I believe you have to genuinely like the person before you fall in love with them. A lot of people, a lot of men especially, and maybe women as well, a lot of us are driven by lust. The person looks good, the person is beautiful, the person is sexy. So we're driven by our sexual craving, you know, and then in reality, we like what we see, but we don't like the person.
And more often when you move into together too quickly, then all the flaws start coming out. You only see each other when you're out to dinner or out in the cinema, or
exactly.
You know, and obviously when you're going to see your other half, your partner,
you put out your best.
You put out your best. So when you're at home, that's the best part.
Right.
Is because you know what, I like sitting in my pajamas all day, and you know.
You have to genuinely like the person. And let me just throw this in there as well. You know, it's not a part of marriage, but part of genuinely liking the person is if children come into play, you have to keep in mind that there's a very high chance that that child may be 100% like you or 100% like your spouse. And if you genuinely doesn't like your spouse and that child turned out to be exactly like your spouse, you tend to have a resentment of that child. So
you probably heard one of your parents or your mother really say, oh, you're just like your father.
You know. So I encourage people when they're dating to genuinely like each other before they take it to the next level.
So another little tip is knowing and accepting each other's flaws. Yes, so
yeah, it's a hard one, but it's a good one. For example, let's use me and Wife for Life. I've heard most of my subscribers made this comment, so it's very clear. I'm a neat freak, you know? Yeah, I'm a neat freak. For me, everything has to be in absolute order. And Wife for Life is not so much of a neat freak. She's not a messy person, but she's not a neat freak. But I suffer from extreme OCD, you know. Things,
if you think the pens are bad, you should see our kitchen cupboards.
You know, so we have to know and accept each other's flaws. So my neatness could be seen as a flaw, you know, at the same time. So what we have done to overcome that over the years is we kind of met each other in the middle.
Right,
you know?
Definitely. Because when we first moved into our first home together, I just put everything where I believed everything should go.
Right.
And then I believe the next day, I went to work, and the next day I came home and all these kitchen cupboards was arranged. And I said, what part of this is me? You know?
Right.
You know, it's just, you've just...
It's all me.
It's all you.
So,
what part of it is me? So give me let me get my touch.
Right.
In this
You know,
kitchen,
so
you know,
we had to meet each other in the middle. The next tip I have is respect each other's opinions and also give each other's ideas chances. Fail together or win together.
Exactly.
You know, so you're now a unit. So respect each other's opinion and give each other's idea a chance.
Exactly. Yeah. This is a hard one, really, because this is what a lot of relationships fail on. Okay. And that is trust.
Right.
You know, trusting your partner. That's not just trusting them, for example, with another woman.
Another woman, right.
Man.
Yeah.
That's trusting each other in the decisions that make on a daily basis, or it could be anything from financial handlings.
Yeah.
I trust that if we buy this car, for example, then this car is good for us.
Right.
I'll lead into that about money, not trying to veer away from trust. But we share our bank accounts.
Right.
There's
all of our accounts.
All of our accounts. There's no, this is my money and this is your money.
No.
Everything is our money.
It's our money.
You know.
We have joint accounts and we have individual accounts, but the balances are pretty open to all of us. There is no secrecy or there is no
mistrust that he's keeping money and not telling me about it, or vice versa. You know.
Yeah. So trust should be, openness in a relationship for success. You have to trust that each other are in the best interest of each other. One other thing that I think has worked for us is quality time together.
Definitely.
When we were dating, we spent almost every day after work together.
Yes.
And after we got married, we still do the same thing.
Even though we lived together.
If you see our Instagram page, we always share our moments, and that's us celebrating our quality time.
Definitely. Honoring our vows. I mean, we've expressed to each other the vows, for example, in sickness and in health.
Right.
We will always be there for each other, no matter what.
Right. And this is my favorite, having a reference point. Having a reference point is a strategy that I've used throughout our relationship to never take her for granted. So any day you feel as if you look at her as just an ordinary person, that is a bad sign and a bad feeling. So if that feeling sneaks up on you, I tend to go back to a reference point, to a time when I really wanted her.
Yeah.
You understand? And I value that time, and it brings it all back together. If you're a religious person and you pray to God for a particular thing and you get it, what people normally do is over time take it for granted.
Exactly.
So you have to go back to that point of when you didn't have it and really wanted it.
Right.
And that seems to work like a charm for me. It always recharged my love, recharged the passion.
And that's for me too, because I remember how much I wanted to be with him and in his life. There was a few contenders. I had some chappies on. So I had to get my punching gloves out. No.
Yeah, there were a few contenders around. I mean, at the time I was a free agent. A few females were showing interest in me, and I would say the best woman won. And when I say that, what I meant is it's who I believe I clicked with most.
Right.
And where that comment is concerned, it reflects the honesty that was even before we became an item.
Exactly.
You know, I didn't want to play any emotional games with any female, so I thought, you know, let them know straight up.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I believe Wife for Life and I
Click
the most. And yeah, so they say, you know, with every successful people, there are a list of enemies. You know?
So all you, well, that was a long time ago.
So I wouldn't call them enemies. I would just say a few feelings got hurt when I had to dismiss some people, you know. So that was that. And another thing I would have to say is validate your achievements.
Yeah.
Celebrate your achievements as well.
Yes, we always lift each other up.
Exactly.
Where that is concerned.
One of our first achievements together as a couple was a children's book.
Yes.
Where I wrote the story and Wife for Life drew the images. And from those little things, you have to validate your achievements, you know, whether it's a new apartment that you got together,
right,
you know, or whether it's a dive that you took and landed on your feet, you know. We met in the UK. I lived in the UK for about 8 years, and I just thought I couldn't get any more successful in the UK. So I wanted to change scene, and when I decided to go to Jamaica, Wife for Life decided that I'm going to Jamaica with you if that's your decision. We went to Jamaica together, kind of like on a whim. We stayed there for about 1.5 years, but it worked out for us, and we had to value that as well. It made me saw her in a different light, and that's when we decided to make it really and truly official. It's a good thing, but yeah, value achievements, no matter how small they are or how great they are.
We have a lot in common, and I think that's what brings us together as well.
Right.
You know, our humor is the same, which is
Right.
you know.
Yeah, we're finding the same things funny. That works. And when we first met, you know, things that we had in common, you know, even though I grew up in America and you were in England, we tend to like the same things, the same music,
like that,
you know, whether it was dancehall, whether it was hip hop and R&B, so compatibility and commonality plays a great part in having a successful marriage, I believe. You know,
and we both have a passion for fashion in our own way.
You know. Obviously, she's got more passion than I do, but you know, we do claim to be fashionistas. You know, we do love our clothes. We do like to look good. You know, and we do have the very same standard of lifestyle.
Definitely.
You know, nobody feel like they're uncomfortable. So that plays a great part as well. If you share the same standard of life.
Definitely.
If you don't share the same standard of life, that could conflict. You know, because one person may say, that is too expensive, or you know, that is too cheap, and so that plays a good part as well.
And also, one last thing that I would like to say, in our almost 20 years of being together, people, do you know that we've never really had a bad argument?
No.
I would probably say count on one hand. And that is even too much. The amount of times we've been
in heated disagreement. In over 2 decades, we've never had a fight. We've probably had in 20 years, maybe 3 to 4 times that I can remember we have a heated disagreement. You know, but
slamming doors and walking out.
But that is a gem in itself. You know, to have kept us together. I think that is because when it comes to personality, as you can see from our personality, I'm more out and Wife for Life is more in.
Definitely.
So I'm more fire, she's more water. So I think we balance each other. Her personality doesn't give me room or give us room to conflict. She's not someone that you could actually argue with. You'll be arguing by yourself. And last thing that I can think of, it's not the least thing, but it's the last thing that I can think of, is acknowledging each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
You have to know where he's strong from where she is strong from where each other are weak. And apply it. Let's say, for example, if she's stronger with finances, you know, then you give her the upper hand in the relationship to take care of the finances. And if I'm better with organizing things, then you give me the upper hand, because at the end of the day, the achievement is for us both.
Exactly.
You know, and pretty much that's it. I can't think of anything else. So if you guys have any questions for us and you want to know any particular thing of how we maneuver it as a couple, just ask in the comment section.
You know that we have our channel.
Oh yeah, this is
we've had a few new subscribers, which I believe came from
my channel.
Your channel, thank you. Yeah, so check us out. I mean, we've been doing it for almost 2 years now.
2 years, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty much it for now, people. Thanks for watching. As usual, thanks for the support. As you know, on my channel, I accept thumbs up, thumbs down. I accept agreement and disagreement, because at the end of the day,
each one teach one.
Until next time, people.
Peace.